Nike is the world's largest sportswear brand. They earn around 1,000 crore rupees every day. World-class athletes like Ronaldo and Rafael Nadal use their products. Would you believe that the one who built Nike was a failed athlete himself and started his business from selling shoes in the trunk of his car? This is the story of Nike's founder Phil Knight. Phil Knight was born in 1938 in a small town named Portland, America. Since childhood, he used to run very fast, and his ultimate dream in life was to be a great athlete. In school and college, he worked hard on his running and won many races. Along with running, Phil continued his education, and in 1962 he completed his MBA. He still wanted to continue running, but one morning during his practice he faced reality. After dedicating his entire youth running, he had become one of the best athletes of his state, but he could not become a national and international level athlete. Sadly, he was good, but not great. He was 24 years old, and now there was no scope to get better in athletics. Hence that morning, Phil with a heavy heart accepted that this was the end of his athletic career. He had failed in his dream of becoming an elite athlete, but still he wanted to do something that would always keep him close to sports. Phil was deeply connected to his running shoes like every runner. That's why he decided that he would do shoe business. Then he remembered that during his MBA, he had studied for several weeks during and wrote a detailed research paper on the business of running shoes. In his research, he came to know that Japanese camera companies, due to their improved quality and low price, they had disrupted the American camera market. According to his research paper, Japanese shoes could disrupt USA shoes market similarly, and could overtake Adidas and Puma, the biggest companies of that time. It was a big risk to start a business on the basis of his college project. But Phil had no other option, and he decided that he will import Tiger brand shoes from Japan and sell them in USA. Tiger shoes were manufactured by a Japanese company named Onitsuka. So, Phil collected its entire savings and took a flight to Japan. Finally, he reached Japan and took appointment from Onitsuka's office. He was very nervous before the meeting. A boy who was very shy and introverted by nature set out to partner with a big company. Moreover, Onitsuka's executive asked Phil for the company name at the very beginning of the meeting. Don't know how, but Phil imagined the blue ribbons in his house. The same blue ribbon which he got for winning many races, and he said blue ribbon. He said he represented a company called Blue Ribbon Sports. No such company existed back then. But Onitsuka's executives were happy with the name. Meeting progressed, and Phil repeated his college project line by line. At the end, Onitsuka's employees were so impressed that they wanted his company Blue Ribbon to sell Tiger shoes in America. It was a deal. Phil gave them his address and asked them to send some of Tiger's training shoe samples. There was no limit to Phil's happiness. He transferred money to Onitsuka for the shoe samples and returned to America and waited for samples. For months passed and he didn't receive any shoe. In response to the letter, Onitsuka said that the shoes will arrive soon. But this did not happen in reality. Phil had not given up hope, but he needed a job to survive until shoes arrived. So he took the job of an accountant in a short firm. It had been almost a year since the meeting with Onitsuka. By then Phil had almost lost hope when a notice came from the customs. There were 12 shoes from Japan. After collecting the shoes, Phil unboxed them and showed the shoes to his college coach Bill Bowerman, and told him about his business plan. Bowerman liked the shoes so much that the very next day he offered Phil to be a 50% partner. Phil was quite surprised with this offer. Bill Bowerman throughout his coaching career was obsessed with one thing, and that was shoes. He had been experimenting with shoes for years and had become an expert in shoe design. His full focus was on making the shoes lighter. He would often take away shoes of his students without asking and would return after tearing the shoes, performing minor modifications for several days. The athlete's performance would massively increase after his modifications. Bill Bowerman was also a genius coach and a natural leader. He was a godlike figure for Phil and rest of the runners. And today, the same godlike figure wanted to become Phil's business partner. It was a no-brainer. They shook hands, and now both of them were 50-50 partners. The same day, Phil wrote a letter to Onitsuka and asked for exclusive distributorship rights to sell the Tiger shoes in Western USA. Also placed first order of 300 shoes at a cost $1,000. This time shoes came on time and Blue Ribbon got exclusive distributorship rights for West USA. This is what Phil was waiting for. He immediately quit his accounting job so that he can focus completely on business. He stored the shoes in the basement of his parents' house. This was the office of Blue Ribbon now. It was time to sell shoes now. Phil requested many sports shops to sell the Tiger shoes. Everyone refused to sell Tiger shoes in their shop. Phil didn't have money to open his own shop. So, he came up with an idea. He'd fill the trunk of his car with shoes and started reaching wherever there was an athletic competition. He spoke to coaches, athletes and spectators and started presenting his shoes. Phil had tried sales job before but was not successful. This time the response of the customers shocked Phil. His shoes were selling like hot cakes. He'd been an athlete himself and so understood athletes' problems very well. Hence he was easily able to convince customers that Tiger's shoes were best for them. In just 2 months he sold the first shipment of 300 shoes. And placed an order of 900 shoes this time. But his total earning was just $2,000 and the total cost of the order was $3,000. So Phil asked for a $1,000 loan from the bank for the first time. Looking at the strong business of Blue Ribbon approved the loan and Phil finally had a career that he was enjoying deeply. He had a trusted partner like Bill Bowerman and a product that was selling by itself. In short, Phil was having a great time. But then, there comes a twist in the story. A wrestling coach wrote a letter to Phil. He claimed that he had just returned from a meeting with Onitsuka in Japan and that Onitsuka has given him rights to be exclusive distributor for whole of America. Coach orders Phil to immediately stop Tiger Shoes business. Only 2 months had passed since Phil started business and was on the verge of closure. He immediately wrote a letter to Onitsuka asking for clarification, but there was no response from them. So, Phil decided that he'll go to Japan and confront Onitsuka. During this meeting, Phil made it clear on how he had been wronged. He presented his argument for strong sales and explained future plans. Next day, he directly met company owner Mr. Onitsuka. He instantly trusted Phil. Mr. Onitsuka said that Phil's passion reminded him of his youth days, and he gave Phil Western USA distributorship again. Phil was relieved, but the problems were far from over.